So within 1 month of starting Depop, I was already making $1,000 a week selling vintage tees like this Harley Davidson right here. And all you'll need is a Goodwill, a phone, maybe a laptop, and some consistency. So step one is to do some research online and figure out what Goodwill stores are in your area. So in my area, we have 2 Goodwill stores that are, within a solid driving distance, and a Goodwill bins that's not too far from me. The Goodwill bins is gonna be your best bet. Now, if you don't have a Goodwill bins near you, it's not the end of the world, but if it's within a 40-minute drive, it's worth taking the trip. Now, this is because a Goodwill bins works differently from other Goodwill stores. The Goodwill bins allows you to pay by the pound. So you grab whatever clothes you want out of these bins, and then when you go to check out, they weigh everything, and then you're just charged for how much everything weighs. So, for example, if you buy 4 or 5 t-shirts at a Goodwill bins, you might end up only paying like $2 to $3. But if you end up going to a Goodwill store and you buy 4 to 5 shirts at around $6 a piece, you're gonna end up paying around $30 to $36. So step number 2 is before you actually go and try and buy any clothing items is to do some research. This research is important because you need to know what sells, what doesn't sell, and how much to sell things for. So before I even created my Depop account, I was already on Depop itself, just looking at what other sellers are selling. So once you go onto someone's Depop, you can just scroll all the way down to their sold items and just take a quick glance, do some research, find out what's selling quicker, what are some hot items, how much do they sell it for, just to gather some general knowledge on these items that you want to sell and items that you want to be looking for when you're actually thrifting. And if you already thrift, then you're already in a better spot than most people. So why not make some money while doing it? Another way to do research is just to scroll through TikTok. So when you're on the Depop selling side of things, where you see people at the Goodwill bins grabbing things, just take a look at the stuff they're grabbing. And when you go to the Goodwill bins or when you go to the Goodwill stores, try and mimic those things that you see. So if you see Carhartt jackets, obviously grab those. You see vintage band tees, obviously grab those. If you see Nike items, grab those. And to quickly identify what's vintage and what's not is actually pretty simple. So I'm sure you've heard of the term single stitch. This just means there's literally one line of stitching on the sleeve. That means it's most likely from the 90s or beyond. Another thing to look for is the tag. It's a good sign because most shirts these days don't even have tags. So if it has a tag, that means it's already from probably the early 2000s or earlier. The brand of the tag, but also if you can see, it'll probably say 100% cotton and made in the USA. So if it says those 2 things, that means it's probably from the early 2000s or the 90s, and it doesn't always have to be single stitch to be vintage. Vintage also includes obviously things that are like early 2000s, even 2010s, still fit within that vintage category. So just because it doesn't have a single stitch on it doesn't mean you have to toss it. Like for example, this Bruce Lee shirt right here from the early 2000s is not a single stitch t-shirt, and it also says made in the USA, but that doesn't mean it's from the 90s, but that doesn't mean this won't sell. I mean, obviously this would probably sell for like 20 to 30 bucks. And if you pick it up for $1 or $2 because you got it at the Goodwill bins or you got it for $6 at the Goodwill store, then you can actually make some decent profit margins. And the better you are at spotting these details, the better it'll be to source these clothes. So when you're at the bins, it'll be easier to know what you're grabbing because you'll quickly learn that there's a lot of people doing what you're trying to do. And the better you are at spotting these items, the lower chances you have at getting what's called pulled on. So when you get pulled on, that means there's someone next to you in the bin. And if they grab something that's right in front of you, that means it's like you got pulled on. Now, obviously, there's really no rules or anything, but some obviously honorable things to do or not to do those kind of things, like reach over in front of someone and grab something that's right in front of them. But you can do it as long as it's not something that's already in their hands, because that's where people actually get into fist fights. So try not to get pulled on. It sucks. Because if you got a vintage band tee in front of you that you didn't see that sells for like 200 bucks and you're over here grabbing this random ass Comfort Colors t-shirt, and then this guy just grabbed in front of you, he takes it back to his group of goons and he's taking a picture of it and they're like, no way, bro, I'll buy it off you right now. You're gonna feel really shitty. So this goes into my first tip. Always look items up. And it's pretty easy to find the price of items online. Now, sometimes if it's very niche, hyper niche, very underground, then it'll be pretty difficult to find exact price of that item in particular. But you can always find a roundabout price based on what other items or similar genre of items are selling for. What the fuck is my phone? And to look items up, all you'll need is your phone. If you use the Google app, it has a picture mode on it. Just take a snapshot of the garment and then look it up. And then once you find similar items, you'll see listing prices. I'll go deeper in how to price items later in the video, but for now, this is just how you look things up. You can either use the Google app or you can use the eBay app. The eBay also has a photo feature where you can actually just take a picture as well and look things up. Now, quick little story time on what happens if you don't do this. So my first week into thrifting, I pulled a vintage t-shirt that was of course single stitch. and it didn't have a tag on it, but what it did say was Freaknik. Now, if you know what Freaknik is, based off me just mentioning it, then you're tapped in. But if you don't know what Freaknik is, it was basically a party that a large majority of black people held, and it was basically just like a huge party in the streets and grew into a bigger and bigger thing, and they sold merch for. It was from the mid-90s to the early 2000s, and any t-shirts found from that time era are worth a lot of money. Now, the one that I pulled just said Freaknik on it. Now, it wasn't a cool graphic, and so this is a part of the reason why I didn't really think much of it. I kind of was like, all right, whatever, it's just a random vintage tee. And I'll show you a random vintage tee that I have in my closet right now. All it is an alien in an orange jumpsuit with a lawnmower. But this is just an example to show you that there are very simple vintage t-shirts that aren't really worth anything. Like that t-shirt I just showed you was only worth about 10 to 15 bucks, and that's what I paid for it. But in terms of value, it's not really up there. So back to what I was saying, the t-shirt I had just said Freaknik on it. I'll try and find a picture and pop it up. But just know that it just said Freaknik on it, and it said 98 the year. And so I really didn't think much of it. And so one of the other resellers that saw that I had that t-shirt was like, hey, can I get that off you? And like I said, I didn't really think much of it. Bro even literally said, oh, this really ain't worth much. Like I probably give you like 10 bucks for it. I was like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. So he handed me a little $10 cash. Then, you know, obviously we're going about our day, like, you know, thrifting through the bins. I turn around, bruh, and I see a group of goons, like I was talking about, holding the t-shirt up. That's why I said that. This was a true story. This happened to me. Dudes is holding it up, taking pictures of it. No way, what is this? How'd you pull this, bro? It's like, oh, and I see him pointing at me. I knew he said he bought it off me for 10 bucks. Now, that shit hurt deep down in my soul, and I ended up getting like closer with this guy down the line, like we became good friends. But in the beginning, like I said, if you're not friends, you're enemies. So, you know, it was kind of easy to just betray my shit real quick because obviously I'm an op. Anybody that's not tapped in with the circle that are at the Goodwill bins, which I'll talk about later down the line, then you are a op, you're an enemy, you will get betrayed, you will get pulled on. That's just the kind of shit that happens when you're at the Goodwill bins. So if I had looked it up and just learned what Freaknik was, I would have learned that that was at least a $60 t-shirt, even though it had no graphic on it. Now the ones with graphics sell for way more, but you know, the value of that t-shirt, I sold it for 10 bucks and you know, I pulled it for like maybe 50 cents. Now, another quick tip is to watch out for trends. So find what's trending, you know, scroll through TikTok. If cardigans are trending, grab some cardigans. Obviously, like during the winter, what's gonna sell more? Like hoodies, sweaters, Christmas sweaters, because those sell a lot quicker in the winter than they do in the summer. Because when you think about it, during the winter, right, no one's gonna buy a tank top in the winter if they have winter. Now, you can still post that because that stuff still does sell. But I'm just saying, keep in mind of trends and know what season it is. Like if it's fall, you know, post a lot of flannels. So after you have your first bulk load of items, take them home. Now it's up to you if you want to wash them or not. It's always best to wash them. You can put that you've washed them in the description of your Depop listing, and those just add to the sell of the item. Now, if you don't wash them and there's stains on them and they look gross and stuff like that, that's on you if it doesn't sell. And another quick tip when you're sourcing clothes, just have in mind when you're grabbing items, especially when you're paying a lot more for them, of what you plan on selling them for. So if you don't have a Goodwill bins around you, this is specifically for you. If you're going to the Goodwill stores, have in mind an idea of what you plan on selling that item for before you even walk out the store with it. Don't buy a $6 t-shirt to plan on selling it for $10 just for someone to lowball you at $8 and then you sell it. And maybe you paid an extra $1 in shipping because they live in California or Alaska or Hawaii, and now you broke even, didn't even make any money, and you wasted your time putting it up on your Depop, taking pictures of it, measuring it. And it's not worth grabbing items that you're gonna pay a lot for just to sell them for like $2, $3 more. Because you also want to keep in mind that not everything sells. This is a learning process, and some items that you think might sell just don't end up selling. But that doesn't mean you just remove listings as well. You know, if you got an item up that's been up for 3 months, it might just sell 3 months down the line. And this actually does come in play when I'm talking about earning the $1,000 a week. You want to have as many postings as you can, which I'll get down to in a second. So the most important step in this process is posting. Now, this might seem like the easiest part, which it is once you understand some of these items I'm about to talk about. But if you don't, this is going to be an area where you might easily mess up. So some of the things you need to make sure you include in your listing are good pictures, a solid description, and measurements, and also solid pricing. Now, if you have all these in line, there's no reason why you shouldn't be making money. Unless the item you grabbed is some random blank t-shirt that you thought would sell because it's a color purple. So for good pictures, you don't need like a good quality camera. Your phone will work. You just need good lighting and a good background. Now, a good idea for what a good picture is just to look at what other Depop sellers are doing. Go to the top Depop sellers and look at their background. A lot of them just have a white background, or they do it on the ground, on the cement floor. That looks pretty good. It looks aesthetic as well. But don't just put it on a hanger with like dim lighting, hung up on a door. Like, I'm not saying you can't do those things, but I'm just saying think about whether or not it's a good picture and whether you can see the details. I mean, when you're buying something, especially used, you want to see the details of it. You want to see like, are there any tears, are there any holes? That's another thing too. If there are tears on the item that you bought, but you know it's still a quality item, like if it's a center Nike swoosh hoodie and it's got like a few little paint stains on it, somebody will still buy that for like 40 bucks. So you just want to make sure that, you note those items in the picture, because if you don't, then they can easily claim that you lied to them and they would try and get a refund out of you. And then you might have like a strike on your Depop account and then you're forced to refund them, this and that. So it's just not something you really want to worry about too much, as long as you make sure that you include a picture of the faults in the item and just note it in the description, because if you showed them and you told them, then how is it on you? Now, another thing is you want to also have clean descriptions. So you don't need to write like a whole 10-page paragraph on the item. Just keep it short, just describe it. Mainly this is for the algorithm, right? So describe your product, right? So if I were to list this Harley Davidson, I'd probably type in Harley Davidson gray vintage 90s t-shirt, right? And so then when anyone types in like vintage t-shirt, that might pop up. Anyone that types in Harley Davidson t-shirt, that'll probably pop up. Anyone types in 90s t-shirt, that just might pop up as well. So using these keywords and being very general will help you in your listing so that people can find it. So that's why sometimes you don't always need to type in the brand, especially if it's not really well known. Like unless it's Nike, you don't really need to put Nike in the title. Like if it's this, I think this brand is called like Shadow Creek. Now, do many people know what Shadow Creek is? No. Do I even really know what brand it was before I bought it? No. So like sometimes you don't really need to put the brand name in it, because that's just going to deter anybody like that's searching up for it, right? No one's going to type in Shadow Creek flannel. Some people are just going to type in flannels. An easy way to do this is maybe just like take a picture of it, put it in ChatGPT and have it write you a general description that will help the algorithm. And then you can just copy and paste from there. Now, another thing when it comes to your postings is to take measurements. Now, this is a little annoying, I know it is, but at the end of the day, it'll help rather than hurt. So if you have like a meter stick, this is honestly pretty easy. In your pictures, just have the meter stick over the garment going from a pit to pit. Because when people are shopping, they only really care about two measurements: the pit to pit and the length of the garment. So like where it sits when you're wearing it. So like no one wants to buy a t-shirt that goes down to their knees, even though it fits them, right? So when people are shopping, they always are looking for the pit to pit and the length. Now, like I said, this is pretty easy. I'll show, images of what to do. You literally just take a measurement from the top to bottom, up and down, and then from pit to pit. Pricing. Pricing is not difficult. Just make sure to look up every item. I mean, you should be looking up every item anyways, but here's something important to note when you look up items. Just because someone has a shirt listed for $100 doesn't mean it's gonna sell for $100, right? Now, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, but what I'm generally getting at here is that you wanna look at what things are being sold for. What are people actually paying for the item, not just what things are listed for. For example, if you look up like Beanie Babies on eBay, you're just gonna find a bunch of overpriced items. Overpriced Beanie Babies that people aren't gonna pay for, even collectors, because they know their prices. Now, this is the same thing with vintage clothing, right? Unless people are hunting for a specific shirt that they know is expensive, then they might be willing to pay that high price. But a majority of people that just like cool stuff are not gonna be paying $60 for a Harley Davidson t-shirt. Now, if it's really worth $60, that's a different story. And if people are really paying that, then, it's a different story. For example, right? An item that sells crazy is a center swoosh Nike hoodie, because it's from the early 2000s. And it's like a tiny little center swoosh right in the center. And I pulled one. I didn't know what it was. I sold it for like 20 bucks. And I literally had people DMing me like, why so low? Why is the price so low? Why is selling for so low? And I just didn't know. And then I learned like, dude, those hoodies really sell for like 100, 120, 140 bucks, depending on the color, right? And the year. Now, like I said, those items do sell like hotcakes, like Carhartt jackets as well. You list it one day, the next day it's probably gone. So it is important to know your pricing. But if we're talking about general run-of-the-mill vintage t-shirts, know your pricing. And if you bought it for 10 cents, bro, why are you gonna be upset that you sold it for 20 bucks? Now, if it was a vintage band tee, bro, and you sold it for $10 and it was really worth like 120 if you let it sit for a month, that is on you. Like I said, I told you to look everything up, but I'm just saying keep in mind and be realistic, because you might see it listed for $100, but someone only paid $40 for it literally yesterday. So why are you gonna list it for $100? So shipping is really easy. All you have to do is go to pirateship.com. It's a free website, and I don't make any money from telling you this because it's literally just game. It's ball. If you know, you know. It's just called pirateship.com. You just make an account. So when it comes to shipping, you're gonna need a couple things here, right? So you're gonna need some label paper, which you can just buy on Amazon for like $10. And you're gonna need some poly bags or just boxes to ship in, right? And lastly, you're gonna need a scale of some sort. So if you already have a food scale at home, that will work. As long as it can get down to ounces and measure pounds, of course. So how do you measure it? How do you weigh it? Because I already know when you get to Pirate Ship, you're gonna be confused. All you do is copy and paste the address in. Then you grab the garment, you put it in the bag, and then once it's in the bag, then you're gonna weigh it on the scale. So like if it's a t-shirt, it'll probably be like, 3, 4, 5 ounces, right? And the weight of it is gonna be the thing that you're paying for mostly, not the size of the bag. So once you weigh it, you put the weight of the item in Pirate Ship, you measure the bag, and if you buy the bags on Amazon, it literally tells you the size of the bag. You just copy and paste that into Pirate Ship. Then you press buy, and then it's gonna show you a bunch of listings. So it'll be like USPS, $3 shipping, FedEx, $5 shipping. Just choose the cheapest one. 90% of the time it's gonna be USPS, and it's not a bad route to go, so just buy that. It'll be like, $3 shipping, and then it's gonna spit out a label. So now you put your label paper in your printer, and then you press print. So you pay $3 for the shipping out of pocket, but when you list an item, be sure to add shipping like through you, like you're paying for the shipping. Don't have Depop create the label for you, because then you'll just be paying twice. Don't do that. And you can actually reduce the cost of your item listings by doing your own shipping, and that's why you're gonna use Pirate Ship. Because if you just let Depop create the labels, it might deter people from buying your items because it's gonna make them pay for more shipping, right? So like if you're selling a t-shirt, Depop might charge them $8 to $10 for the label. But if you buy through Pirate Ship, you may end up paying $3 to $4 for that label instead. So that's why when you're selling things like t-shirts, just put a general $5 shipping charge on it, and that should be good enough to cover everything. So after you pay for the label, it's gonna give you a shipping number. Now you're gonna wanna copy and paste that into Depop. This is the only way Depop will know that you actually shipped the item. And you have to do this. I'm pretty sure still, if it still holds true, on Depop, in order for you to actually get your money, you actually have to get them their shipping label number, the tracking number. So you just copy and paste that into Depop, and then it'll mark it as shipped and like already on its way. Oh, one more tip when it comes to listing items, know that people are gonna lowball. I mean, I lowball too when I'm also buying things. So this is just important to know. Because when you're buying a shirt and you're like, oh, I'm gonna sell this for $10, don't list it for $10. Everyone's gonna be asking you for like $6, $7, $8, right? So if you wanna sell it for $10, list it for like anywhere between $12 to $14. So when someone lowballs you at that $10 mark, which is what you wanted to sell it for, then you could just go ahead and sell it. And on the upside, if they end up paying $12 or $13 for it, then you just made some extra money. Now that's pretty much it. I have some more tips that I'm gonna give you that might help you out. Like tip 1 is just to make friends with people at the Goodwill bins. You'll see who the resellers are because they'll be dripped from head to toe in vintage clothing. They'll be gathering in groups and they'll be there all day because that is literally what they do. Now, it is always good to make friends with them because sometimes you could just make money on the spot. Like if you get a vintage band tee or a cool t-shirt somebody wants, you could just sell it all right there and then for cash. So if you don't care to do postings, which leads me to tell you like there's another method other than just Depop selling. You could either sell at events and just stack up clothing and then just sell these items at events. But if you need money now and quickly and you don't care to just sell on Depop, just grab all your items in your basket. You don't even have to check out. You could just go be like, hey, you wanna buy my cart? And they will literally just give you cash for the cart, like all the items in your cart, depending on what you grab. Now, if you grab a bunch of foo-foo garbage, they're not gonna pay you anything for that. Another tip is just to post on TikTok.
Grandpa passed away and left me his drip.
You don't have to be in the TikToks. It can be very simple. Just like take a little visual, some B-roll of the Goodwill bins you're in or at the Goodwill store, and then just shoot some footage of the items you bought. Because if you can drive traffic from TikTok to your Depop, you're just getting more eyes on it and you might just end up selling some items even quicker that way. Because it doesn't take that long to just whip out your phone and just shoot some footage. Now this might sound like a lot, but I just learned a lot of these things from trial and error. And if you are planning on doing this, I try to give as many tips as possible to help you in your journey. Now just remember, stay consistent, track your inventory, create an Excel spreadsheet of what you pay for things and how much you sell for them and how much you pay for shipping. And don't overthink it. If things aren't selling right away, just keep posting and stop grabbing the shit that doesn't sell. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button because in January, I'm gonna be going back to the bins and starting this whole business to show you guys how to do this from scratch, trying to make a couple $100 in my first week of doing it. Also, check out my last video on how I started a ping pong business at 21 years old. See you guys in the next one. Yeah.